I want to talk to you without speaking.
I took the same journey that William Burroughs, but in the opposite way.
Door's already open, can't close it now.
This is a complete construction. We built everything.
All you can do is look away. But why would you?
Hi, I'm Paula Benson, founder and editor of Film and Furniture. Today on the Film and Furniture podcast, we explore the design and spaces of Queer with the film's production designer Stefano Baisi. Directed by the Italian film director and producer Luca Guadagnino, Queer is set in 1950s Mexico City and Ecuador. It follows the story of William Lee, an American, self-conscious, insecure who lives in Mexico City. He takes an obsessive interest in a coy Oklahoma student named Eugene Allerton. It's based on the 1985 book by William Burroughs and based on Burroughs' own experiences. The film Queer is very dreamlike, otherworldly, and very much led by Lee's emotions and obsessions, and features some fascinating Mexico street scenes, bars, and interiors. This podcast works just as well without visuals, but just to let you know, it's a video podcast, so you can watch along too for the full experience. By the way, this interview contains spoilers. Directed by Luca Guadagnino. I avoid saying his surname all the time because I think I'm going to get it wrong. Guadagnino.
Guadagnino.
So Italian film director, and we're in 1950s, mainly in Mexico City and also Ecuador as well. And we're following the story of William Lee, who is an American who has taken refuge in Mexico City, and follows a little bit of the life story of William Burroughs, where he wrote the original book, even though it didn't come out till 1985. It's a lot about longing, about displacement, about unrequited love, very much about self-destruction as well. So a very interesting subject for you, I think, because this was the first production design film you had done, yes? Is that right? Yeah. So you were working in Luca's interior design studio. So he tasked you with quite a big ask, I think. How did you feel when he first asked you?
So I said yes immediately, and I was very, very excited because it was a dream of mine to work in movies. So
I guess your career has been very much about real spaces. And what's really interesting to me about Queer is that it's very dreamlike. It's about imaginary spaces. And also, I guess you were trying to get inside the head of William Burroughs, more about emotions and how space makes us feel, or the other way around.
We tried to translate the feelings of the characters and what Luca wanted to give to the movie. This sense of longing, this sense of desire of the two characters, the connection and the disconnection of them. And then we started to imagine how to translate the feeling and the characters into the production design, starting from the furniture, starting from the colors, arriving to the shape of the rooms, because, as you know, this is a complete construction except for one location. We built everything. Of course, the beach was real and was in Sicily, but the hut was a construction. So basically, the entire movie is built from scratch. We tried to give to the production design the idea of the mirror, one person that reflects into another. So you can see a lot of symmetry in what we did. The idea from the beginning was to don't realize something current to the reality and the reality in the 50s. Of course, we started from something real. I mean, styles, the presence of many different styles in the architecture of the Mexico City of the time. There was a colonial style, Art Deco style, modernist style. So we tried to mix this style together, but almost everything comes from fantasy, from our imaginary. We tried to insert here and there some landmarks of the city to give the idea that we are in Mexico City. And we tried to create something that was not real to increase the sense of the oniric storytelling of the movie. I took the same journey that William Burroughs, but in the opposite way. So I started from Ecuador, and I went to Panama City and then Mexico City.
Colour plays a really important part in the film Queer. Where did you take your influences from? Were you interested in other films or paintings or just the mood?
We started from Luca wanted to give the texture, the movie of the paintings of the some contemporary artists that he loves, as the Flemish painter Michael Boremans, that plays a role in the movie, the doctor, and Francis Alice, that is another Flemish painter that used to live in Mexico City. Francis Bacon gave us some reference, together with the work of Rachel Whitehead in some way, and we studied a lot. Tina Modotti, that was a photographer that took a lot of pictures of Mexico City, and of course together with the movies references as Power and Pressburger movies, Red Shoes, Black Narcissus, Tales of Hoffman. Some way we studied the work of Akira Kurosawa Dreams, only to understand how to work with something that is completely invented from scratch and is not real, but in some way you trust in what you see. We studied the work of Albert Whitlock, that was this man that used to work with Hitchcock in realizing these huge matte paintings to extend the sets. And maybe something from Lynch. You can notice, for example, that in Lee's apartment, the layout of the kitchen is similar to the kitchen of Dorothy Valens in Blue Velvet.
I need to go back and look at Blue Velvet. So Lee's apartment that you mentioned there is really interesting, isn't it? My eyes were darting around everywhere. So it's quite, it's very dark. There's a dark red carpet. There's these very saturated colors, and you kind of feel a little bit stifled, but the whole atmosphere is, it's very hot. He's sweating a lot, and then his apartment feels like he wants to be grand, but it's not quite grand. It's got sort of feeling of digs to it. So could you talk us through Lee's apartment and how you created that, and what sort of design? I guess it's all again about trying to convey his emotion.
For Lee's apartment, we started from the description in the novel. It is described as a quite empty apartment with furniture that seems to come from the street or from something that was from over the furniture. So we started from that concept, understanding which kind of elements of the life of William Burroughs put here and there. We knew that he was interested in science fiction novels or comics, so we tried to put the right titles in the apartment. And there are symbols that are very important in the narrative of Burroughs, like the centipedes that you can spot it by a window in the apartment. There is a painting of St. Louis, that is the city where William Burroughs was born. We tried to dress the apartment in a very coherent way, in the most Baroqueian way we can. We tried, together with Lisa Scoppa, the set decorator, to understand which kind of mall there were at the time in Mexico City, understanding which kind of furniture could be buy in a simple way, very cheap furniture. The Beat generation was a generation of poor writer, I can say in some way. So there were not a lot of wealth in what we studied. So this is the approach we used for to dress William Lee apartment.
So there's lots of bars and lots of cafes, a lot of drinking, a lot of tequila, a lot of beer, a lot of cerveza, mezcal, and a lot of watching and waiting, particularly on Lee's part. Ship Ahoy is such an incredible cafe. So there are obviously some ship references in there. Can you talk us through the design of Ship Ahoy?
So Ship Ahoy was described in the book as a very strange place with nautical element here and there, with the phony lamps where strange people used to go. It was not well described in the novel and, of course, in the script. So we started from Burroughs again, and we started from the life of Burroughs. We knew that he spent a lot of time in New York in a period of his life. At some point, I found this image in the research of the SS Normandy, that was a very important ocean liner of the beginning of the century. At some point, there was a fire inside the boat, and the boat turned on the side on a pier in New York. So I found this image very beautiful, with this smoke coming out. And I thought that the better way to design the Ship Ahoy, and thinking about the owner, this Tom Weston that is the owner, was think about Tom Weston take pieces of boats here and there to create the space. And we thought about the third class of the ocean liners, and in particular the SS Normandy. And we took inspiration to design every element in the Ship Ahoy from that.
Is it in Ship Ahoy you have this like bright yellow kind of bar countertop? Yeah.
The bright yellow is in the wings, in this shape that remind also a boat.
And you have these sort of very square-backed chairs on one side, and then these booths on the other, with the grey padded seats with kind of dark blue sort of metal holding devices, and then another yellow table with chromed detailed around the edges. So a little bit of a diner feel as well, right?
Yeah. Because it was a place frequented by expats, and Tom Weston himself was an expat. So we thought that could be more American than Mexican.
And then I can't remember what the bar or cafe is, but there's this beautiful place. I don't think it's Ship Ahoy, but there are these beautiful kind of pistachio green, very Mexican green shelves and a green table. And I think it's got like a deep red or terracotta base to it. Some of the publicity shots have them sitting in the cafe discussing how to bake Alaska.
Oh, they list baked Alaska. Ever read it?
No.
Real good. It's hot on the outside and cold inside.
That's why they call it baked Alaska, I imagine.
Yeah. That was the KC Steakhouse.
That's a beautiful space. It really reminded me of my very first trip to Mexico many years ago. That green feels very Mexican.
We started design that set from a painting of Francis Alice.
And then Lola's kind of Mexican cantina is a lovely, beautiful space with the wooden floors and a hint of Soviet feel to it. Is that right?
Yeah. Because we mixed two locations described in the novel, the Russian restaurant and the Lola's itself. We tried to put in Mexican cantina some Soviet and Russian avant-garde art elements mixed together with the Mexican objects. You can spot 4 paintings behind William Lee that are inspired from the Russian avant-garde art. You can spot everywhere some of ours, this object to do the tea. Yeah, you can see that one of the 2 of them are on the side of a central pillar, and they are huge. We wanted to make them as bigger as possible. And this place was designed thinking about the symmetry again. Another time, you have this central pillar, and you have 2 equal space on the 2 sides. And you see a round of a strip of mirrors all around. That was inspired by a scene of the Darjeeling tea of Bertolucci.
In Queer, there are a lot of scenes which take place in bars and restaurants. Over on the Film and Furniture website, we sell traditional Mexican beer glasses called Copa Chabela Cuadrada. They're square glasses, really heavyweight, and they took a lot of work to track down in Mexico, mainly after they appeared in Rick Stein's cooking program, The Road to Mexico. They've got super thick glass with square, rounded corners, and they're designed to keep the liquid contents cold. Check them out on our website at filmandfurniture.com. Yes, and all these kind of ideas that when you're watching it, you're not sure sometimes if you're watching a dream or a hallucination or if this is part of real life or not. And I guess the music helps with that as well, right? Very contemporary music. So you're kind of like, oh, where are we? What time period are we in? And does it matter anyway? And then there's this scene in the cinema, right, where they go and watch the cinema and there's this feeling like you're moving in and out. And can you talk through that scene a little bit, how you did that?
The cinema was very fun because because we mixed the miniature together with the real set. So it's a false perspective where there is the balustrade start the miniature. 4 rows of seatings were real, and then everything was fake. And we wanted to reduce as much as possible the digital extension. So the idea was to realize it using miniature.
I want to come with me.
And then they go off on this mega journey to Ecuador, to the jungle, to go and try and search for I can never say this word. Ayahuasca.
Yagi.
Yeah. So they go in search of this because they've heard, William Lee has heard that basically it can help with you becoming telepathic. So they go on this mega adventure and he persuades Allerton to come with him. And then they end up finding this incredible hut in the middle of this jungle that you recreated on a stage. And this hut is, again, this really unusual, confined, a bit scary. You don't know if this woman that they meet they can trust her or not. And it's a very interesting set, that as well. Could you talk us through how you created that?
Yeah. So we created the jungle in Cinecittà, in the backlot, digging an hill, basically, creating all the paths, trying to avoid the repetition of the same area. So we tried to optimize the space we had. We hired a botanical expert in Ecuador to understand the real plants that are in the jungle there. And we mixed real plants together with fake plants and fake trunks. And then we studied the Shuar and Ashuar natives in Ecuador. And we studied, of course, the architecture that they used to use. We tried also to give the idea that Dr. Cotter came to the jungle and found this abandoned hut because, Shell at the time, the oil company that also gave a name of a city there, Shelmera, tried to find oil in that region, and they cut a lot of trees, etc., and the natives ran away. So we imagined that Dr. Cotter took an hut and transformed it in a more occidental way. And we also added this sort of metal laboratory on one side.
Mm-hmm.
We thought that Dr. Cotter could use the shell metal abandoned in the forest to create this laboratory where to do her research.
I love all the backstories that are created. I was going to say just to create a hut but otherwise it's not believable. You have to understand why she's there. Why is all this happening? And I hadn't realised about the shell story. That's really fascinating. The incredible scene there that you say was influenced by Francis Bacon paintings where the bodies appear to merge and swirl together. A really, really powerful scene. You know, there's like the hovering torso scene. There is the piece of paper that blows between the two of them, and they're very different scenes altogether. Would you share some thoughts on those surrealist scenes?
Luca wanted to empower the relation between the two characters. The moment where they took ayahuasca is the moment where they lose the control on everything. So is the moment where they are more connected of the entire movie. And when you love someone and when you want connection with someone, you have this desire to merge into the body of someone else. He has in mind this painting of Bacon, and he wanted to create this sequence where the two characters they are more connected. In the same way, more or less, the scene with the paper sheet that comes from another painting of Francis Alice. Imagine two people trying to make a paper of sheet.
To float stationary in the
float in the middle with the blow is something that you can do with someone else that is very connected with you. And
synchronicity, right? Yes.
Yeah,
I love that scene. It's very beautiful. Now, if you could take something home from the film sets for your own home, what would it be?
It's hard to tell. My home is not so big, so I want, honestly, my favorite set was Shipaoi, and I wanted to take out the entire bar and recreate the bar somewhere else. I'm so proud about that set, all the sets, but that one in particular.
The whole bar, the whole scene.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. We have a client recently who created the entire bar from the movie Passengers, the science fiction movie Passengers, the entire bar at 2,000 square feet in their basement. So it wouldn't be unusual, I think, that we can find some people to rebuild Bar Ahoy, Ship Ahoy in their basement. We'll work on that.
Okay.
An absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. An incredible job.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed that insightful chat. You can take a look at our in-depth feature and film set images at filmandfurniture.com, where you'll find many fascinating articles on interiors, furniture, decor and lighting in film, as well as where to find these items for your own home. That's all in our marketplace. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.